My parents called off my engagement party, believing my fiancé fell short of their expectations. Now they are fervently seeking to win his favor. I tightened my grip on my phone, retreating from my desk to seek solace in a secluded corner of the hallway. "What do you mean you have canceled the reservation?" I insisted. This past Saturday marked the celebration of the engagement party. Invitations were dispatched weeks prior. The venue was just too costly. "Emily," my mother said, her voice imbued with that familiar composure she adopted when sharing unwelcome tidings. "After a thoughtful conversation between your father and me, we've come to the conclusion that we simply cannot rationalize the expense of such a lavish party. We shall discover something more fitting. Is it suitable?" My cheeks burned with a surge of anger. The Riverside Terrace stood as the embodiment of my aspirations for a perfect venue. Since the age of 16, I had spoken of the significance of celebrating important milestones in that place. "Dreams must find their place within the bounds of reality, my dear," she went on. "I have been exploring some delightful restaurant backrooms that would be ideally suited." I interjected, "We've already placed a deposit. What potential savings might you achieve by canceling at this moment?" A significant pause ensued. "It's not merely about the money, Emily," she remarked. "It revolves around establishing realistic anticipations for what lies ahead. Given David's background, it may be wise to begin with a more modest approach." The suggestion hung heavy in the air, twisting my stomach into tight knots. I concluded the call soon after, vowing to revisit the topic later, fully aware that the decision had already been reached. I am Emily Whitfield, a 29-year-old. Though I was raised in the affluent enclave of Amberley Village in Cincinnati, surrounded by the comforts of wealth, my journey into adulthood has been a testament to my determination to carve out my own path. I forged a successful career in architectural design independent of my father's connections that I acquired my own condo without dipping into my trust fund. In that moment, I found myself captivated by Ethan, a remarkable software developer whose journey from humble beginnings to extraordinary achievements left an indelible mark on my heart. Though my parents failed to look past his simple attire and humble presence, all I yearned for was a single day at a singular celebration where my realms could unite harmoniously. In a cherished setting, David and I envisioned a moment to share our engagements, enveloped by the warmth of our loved ones. Now, my parents had stripped away even that with hardly a week's warning. As I strolled back to my desk, my phone vibrated with a message from my sister, Olivia. "My mother just shared some news about Riverside. Apologies, but on a brighter note, she's enhancing my birthday venue to compensate for the family mishap. Isn't that wonderful?" I gazed at the message, absorbing its words repeatedly until the significance finally dawned on me. The cancellation had not occurred due to financial considerations. They had called it off, overwhelmed by their embarrassment regarding David, our engagement, and me. Yet, astonishingly, that wasn't even the most troubling aspect. The weekend following the cancellation of our engagement party marked my sister's birthday. To be raised in the Whitfield family was to grasp the paramount importance of appearances, a truth that overshadowed all else. My father established Cincinnati's largest commercial real estate firm, cultivating connections on golf courses and at charity galas. My mother held positions on the boards of the city's most esteemed cultural institutions, guaranteeing that our family name graced all the appropriate society columns. In this environment, Olivia flourished. 2 years my junior. She accepted the weight of our family's legacy, choosing to date only those from suitable backgrounds and embarking on a law degree not from a place of fervor, but rather from the demands of expectation. She transformed into the daughter my parents had always envisioned, refined, reliable, and seamlessly in harmony with their ideals. I chose an alternative route. During my college years, I chose to dedicate my time to designing community centers in underserved neighborhoods rather than following in my mother's footsteps by joining her sorority. Upon completing my studies, I turned down my father's proposition of a corner office at Whitfield Properties and instead chose to align myself with a small, forward-thinking architectural firm dedicated to sustainable design. Every decision deepened the chasm that separated us. Yet I hold on to the belief that my parents admired my determination to carve my own path, even if it eluded their comprehension. It was at a tech conference that I encountered David, while I was delivering a presentation on the intricacies of smart building design. In his simple button-down shirt and faded jeans, he posed the most thought-provoking inquiries regarding the fusion of technology with architectural environments. We engaged in conversation for hours afterward at a nearby coffee shop. He possessed brilliance, kindness, and a refreshing authenticity, traits that seemed all too rare among the acquaintances of my parents. After half a year of romance, I invited David over for a meal. The evening hung heavy with tension as my parents probed with sharp questions regarding his education, a scholarship at a state school, and his family background, middle class, with a father who taught high school and a mother who worked as a nurse. But my father's disapproval was barely masked when David brought up the fact that he still drove his college car, a 15-year-old Honda that functioned flawlessly. "Well, at least he's resourceful," my mother had murmured to me later that night. As if frugality were a curious quality she was attempting to embrace with an open heart. I had decided to trust that they would eventually recognize the man I perceived, to value his exceptional intellect and kind spirit instead of being preoccupied with his financial status or lineage. When David proposed 6 months later with a simple, yet meaningful ring he had designed himself, my parents responded with tepid congratulations and promptly recommended a lengthy engagement to ensure everything was right. My father once remarked that marriage is a lifelong commitment. One should truly know another person before embarking on that journey. What he truly implied was his desire for me to regain my clarity and discover a partner more fitting. Looking back, the warning signs were unmistakable. The engagement party they had hesitantly consented to organize was never intended to come to fruition. 3 days after the cancellation, the final confirmation arrived as I made an unannounced visit to my parents' house that I had been dodging their calls, requiring space to sift through my anger before facing them. As I navigated the winding driveway, my eyes caught sight of an array of vehicles lined up outside. My aunt's sleek Mercedes, my father's business partner's imposing Range Rover, and my sister's stylish BMW. They were in the sunroom, encircled by an array of catering samples and delicate floral arrangements. My mother was gesturing with great enthusiasm towards what seemed to be a table arrangement. "The riverside terrace bathes in delightful natural light," she remarked, with the head table elegantly placed to gaze upon the flowing river. What could this possibly be? My voice pierced the joyful murmur of conversation. 5 heads pivoted in my direction, eyes wide with astonishment. My mother was the first to recover. "Emily, we were unaware of your visit. That we are in the process of finalizing a few details for Olivia's birthday celebration at the Riverside Terrace." It was not a question. A heavy stillness enveloped the room. My aunt unexpectedly developed a keen fascination with her phone. My father's business partner whispered something about a call he had to make before quietly slipping away. Olivia, at the very least, possessed the grace to appear somewhat abashed. Olivia recounted how I expressed to Mom that it felt premature given your circumstances, yet she remained adamant that the venue was ideal and already open for booking. "Available," I remarked, my voice unnaturally steady even as turmoil swirled within me, a tempest of emotions unleashed by your cancellation of my reservation. My father adjusted his golf shirt with a sense of purpose. "Emily, may we have a private conversation about this? What is the reason behind this? All present are already aware of the events that transpired. You called off my engagement party, citing the cost as a concern, only to reserve the very same venue for Olivia's birthday celebration. I would be eager to receive the explanation." "It's not as straightforward as you might think, my dear," my mother began, her societal smile firmly in place. The carefully curated guest list for Olivia's event aligns seamlessly with the charm of the riverside setting. The relationships your father can cultivate in that environment. So, were my guests not significant enough? Was my celebration truly insignificant? "That's not what your mother is saying," my father interjected. "Emily, we have shown considerable patience with this chapter of your life. The position at that small firm, the unassuming apartment, and now, David." "Is that you, David?" My voice took on a steely edge. "What role does my fiancé play in this situation?" My parents shared a glance I recognized all too well, the kind that foreshadowed an uncomfortable revelation they believed was necessary for my benefit. My mother finally declared that he simply isn't the right match. This may not be suitable for someone with your experience. He possesses a certain charm, yet he lacks the drive, the familial ties, and any substantial contributions to present, aside from love, respect, and support," I retorted. "Matters of true significance." My father let out a deep, weary sigh. "Your fiancé does not meet the standards of this family, Emily. And within the depths of your being, you are aware of it. Our intention is to protect you from a choice that may lead to regret." The words struck with the force of tangible impacts. I had sensed their disapproval, yet to hear it articulated so candidly struck me to my very core. In that instant, enveloped by the flurry of festivities intended for my sister and not for me, I perceived my parents with newfound clarity. Their love, tinged with conditions, their values, strikingly superficial, and their unwavering belief that they held the ultimate understanding of what was right. That I stepped outside, silence enveloping me as I left without uttering a single word. My thoughts are in a whirlwind. They had formed their opinions and cast aside the man I cherished, all without ever taking the time to truly understand him. For the first time, a thought crossed my mind. Did they know me as well? That evening, I found myself in my condo alongside David, tears cascading down my cheeks as I relayed the events that had unfolded. He listened in silence, his demeanor reflecting a deeper sorrow than any trace of anger. Upon completing my task, he grasped my hands gently in his own. "I'm sorry they hurt you," he murmured gently. "Yet, I find no astonishment in their sentiments towards me that I had hoped they would make an effort to understand you," I remarked, dabbing at my tears. "I believe that family held greater significance than wealth." David offered me a melancholic smile. "There are those who perceive worth solely in that which they already comprehend. Your parents assess value through a particular lens, and I do not align with their criteria." His serene acceptance only fueled my resolve further. Out of the blue, I proposed that we host our own engagement party, a notion that is both straightforward and profound. The riverside terrace is unnecessary for us, that we are not seeking their validation. David paused, uncertainty flickering in his mind. "Do you truly believe that? This is your family, Emily. That I wish to avoid being the catalyst for your severed connections with them." I reassured him, saying, "You are not to blame. Their behavior is indeed intriguing. Let us proceed in our own manner." In the following 2 days, I transformed my pain into purposeful action. I discovered a delightful rooftop venue at a nearby brewery, connected with friends, and crafted digital invitations that IT was unfolding splendidly, a tribute that embodied our true selves, rather than the personas my parents envisioned for us. Friday morning arrived, bringing with it a call from Olivia. Without any introduction, Mom announced that the Hendersons were invited to my party. The Hendersons, referring to the family of Matthew Henderson. My stomach plummeted. Matthew, the son of a distinguished banking family, was Olivia's former boyfriend, a young man whom my parents held in high regard. Their hearts had shattered when Olivia chose to end her relationship with him last year, opting instead for Chris, a pharmaceutical sales representative whom they deemed unworthy of her. At last, the invitation revealed its true significance. A reunion was being orchestrated by them. She asserts that it's due to his father contemplating an investment in Dad's new development, Olivia continued, yet we both understand her true intentions. Imagine this. She informed Chris that the party was off because of family matters, yet the truth was, she simply neglected to send him an invitation. I shut my eyes, acknowledging the rhythm. "She is inflicting upon you the same treatment that was once bestowed upon me." "Not quite," Olivia replied. "I am their golden child, don't forget. My party will not be canceled. They are merely attempting to dictate the company with which I choose to celebrate. Emily, I truly regret what they expressed to you regarding David. The situation was marked by cruelty and injustice that IT marked the first time Olivia had ventured into the territory of openly challenging our parents. For a fleeting instant, I believed I had discovered a companion. Why not have you and David grace us with your presence at your own engagement celebration? Let's invite Chris as well, and we can hold our celebration right under their noses," I proposed, feeling invigorated by the notion of this subtle act of defiance. Silence enveloped the line. "I can't do that," she finally declared. My father is set to reveal my promotion to junior partner at the firm during the celebration. For 3 long years, I've toiled for this, Emily. I cannot put it at risk, not even for you. A well-known sense of disappointment nestled within my chest. So, you're willing to allow them to shape your existence as long as it serves your interests? What is the situation with Chris? I shall find a way to atone for my actions towards him. Listen, not everyone has the luxury of severing ties with family, Emily. Certain individuals are guided by pragmatic factors. Once the call ended, I found myself at my desk, gazing at the incomplete invitations displayed on my computer screen. Even my modest gesture of autonomy seemed devoid of meaning now. Though I could orchestrate my own gathering, the very individuals who ought to be most invested, my family, would remain across town, reveling without me, as if my emotions and decisions held no significance. David discovered me in that state an hour later, my engagement ring shimmering in the light as I turned it around my finger, contemplating whether I was waging a war I could never hope to win. On Saturday morning, the day that was meant to be our engagement party, I awoke to discover David already attired and savoring his coffee on our quaint balcony. "I was thinking," he said as I joined him, "maybe we should go to Olivia's party." As I took my inaugural sip of coffee, I found myself almost gasping for breath. "What is this? What compels us to endure such a thing?" He said thoughtfully that running away and hosting our own party seems like conceding victory to them. Yet, to appear authentically, to embrace our true selves, and to refuse to allow others to control our choices, that is the essence of asserting our presence. That I cautioned you. They will treat you terribly. They will offer cutting remarks and regard you as though you are unseen. David gave a slight shrug. They already believe I fall short. What's the most dire outcome that could unfold? When we finally reached the Riverside Terrace that evening, I found myself in a tumult of anxiety, my hands trembling uncontrollably. The venue was breathtaking, with floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Ohio River, crystal chandeliers illuminating the elegant table settings with a soft, inviting glow, and floral arrangements that likely exceeded my monthly rent in value. My mother was the first to notice us, her well-rehearsed smile wavering for a fleeting instant before she regained her poise and approached with grace. "Emily, what an unexpected delight." "And David," she whispered softly, "My dear, this gathering is intended for family only. An invitation was not sent to you." "I understand," I replied, mirroring her subdued tone while infusing my words with a hint of resolve. "Your position is unmistakably defined, yet Olivia remains my sister, and my commitment to support her endures." My mother's smile grew taut. "Certainly. What a display of maturity. Kindly refrain from centering this evening around your circumstances. This evening is dedicated to honoring Olivia. As she drifted off to engage with other guests, David tightened his grip on my hand. "Are you all right?" "I shall be," as I vowed, despite the tremors of my confidence. The evening unfolded with a heavy sense of discomfort. My father scarcely recognized our presence, his attention fixated on the Henderson family, especially Matthew, whom he had placed beside Olivia, oblivious to her evident unease. David found himself on the periphery of discussions, receiving his meal after everyone else, and often being confused for a member of the waitstaff by my parents' acquaintances. The ultimate strike arrived amidst my father's toast. With a champagne flute held high at the head table, he radiated joy as he gazed at Olivia. "This evening, we gather not merely to mark a birthday, but to honor an extraordinary young woman who embodies the values of Whitfield that he proclaimed. Olivia has demonstrated a steadfast commitment to family traditions, a pursuit of professional excellence, and the art of forging meaningful connections for a prosperous future." His gaze lingered thoughtfully on Olivia, then shifted to Matthew Henderson before moving on. "It is with great pride that I share the news of Olivia's promotion to junior partner at Whitfield Properties, where she will play a pivotal role in spearheading our thrilling new collaboration with Henderson Financial Group." As applause thundered around me, I remained motionless, caught in a moment of disbelief. This transcended the realm of a mere birthday celebration or a simple professional declaration. The merger was a carefully crafted alliance between families, one that entwined Olivia with Matthew through the legacies of their parents' enterprises, rendering her quest for independence ever more elusive. In an instant, everything became clear to me, and I grasped the unfolding events with remarkable precision. This was not a matter of David's worthiness. The essence lay in control, in preserving the Whitfield dynasty according to their own dictates. As the truth settled in, I sensed David's body stiffen next to me. I followed his gaze. I noticed my father engaged in a deep conversation with an unfamiliar man. The stranger cast furtive glances our way, his face transforming from skepticism to a kind of wonder. "David," I murmured. "Who is that individual?" "Thomas Grant," he responded, his voice clipped. "Chief Executive Officer of Pinnacle Tech." Before I could inquire about the reason behind the CEO of one of the nation's largest technology companies showing interest in us, David was already on his feet. "It is imperative that we depart at once." As we quietly made our exit, I stole a final look at Thomas Grant, who had drawn my father aside, his gestures directed toward us with an undeniable sense of urgency. A shift had occurred, though its nature eluded my grasp for the moment. "Will you share what that was all about?" I inquired as we made our way home, the strain in David's jaw evident in the soft illumination of the dashboard lights. He let out a sigh, his shoulders easing just a bit. "Do you recall that project I've dedicated the last 3 years to? The one I found difficult to discuss? What is the algorithm used for predictive analysis in the field of healthcare? The one that appears whenever you inquire about it?" I had always honored his privacy regarding his work, believing it to be a standard practice of startup confidentiality. David cast a fleeting look in my direction, a wistful smile dancing on his lips. "It is complete, Emily. The evolution, the examination. All things. For the past month, I have been engaged in discussions regarding acquisition. I paused, absorbing the weight of this revelation. That's remarkable. Yet how does it relate to the events of this evening? The company owned by Thomas Grant is acquiring my software. The agreement reaches its conclusion on Monday morning. The ramifications began to take hold. Is it truly significant?" David's laughter carried an absence of mirth. "Pinnacle Tech is not one to engage in minor acquisitions." Just as I was about to delve deeper, my phone erupted with a flurry of notifications. 3 missed calls from my father, 2 from my mother, and a message from Olivia. "What on earth did your fiancé do?" "Father and Maxwell are on the brink of madness." I presented the text to David. "Would you be so kind as to share the remaining details with me?" Upon arriving home, David retrieved his laptop and presented to me the press release set for Monday morning. My eyes widened as I absorbed the news. Pinnacle Tech has acquired BioPredict for a staggering $175 million. $175 million? I inhaled sharply, my gaze lifting from the screen. "David, this is transformative." He inclined his head in acknowledgement. "That is the reason for my recent distraction. The discussions, the assessments of legality, the strategizing." He grasped my hands that I had the urge to share, yet the confidentiality agreements were unyielding until the deal reached its conclusion. Thoughts surged through my mind, weaving together the threads of understanding. "This evening, Thomas Grant acknowledged your presence. That is the reason he was conversing with my father." It seems that David ran his fingers through his hair. "It seems he assumed your father was already aware of my identity." That moment, my phone chimed once more. "My father." After a moment of hesitation, I responded through the speaker. "Emily," he started, his tone unexpectedly respectful. "Is David by your side? I would greatly appreciate the chance to discuss a potential opportunity with him." "It's almost midnight, Dad," I said, my tone steady. What opportunity could possibly demand such immediacy? A moment of stillness. Thomas Grant noted that David's company has created remarkable advancements in healthcare technology. Whitfield Properties is venturing into the realm of medical offices, and we are eager to explore potential collaborations. The boldness was astonishing. Just hours ago, my father seemed entirely indifferent to David's presence. Now, recognizing a promising venture, he was eager to forge connections. "Indeed," I remarked, as a plan began to take shape in my mind. "We would be eager to explore this matter in greater depth. Shall we meet for brunch tomorrow at 11 a.m., perhaps at the Riverside Terrace?" My father swiftly consented, vowing to set the plans in motion without delay. Once the call ended, David turned to me with a look of inquiry in his eyes. "At the Riverside Terrace?" Do you truly believe that? Indeed, I declared, my resolve intensifying. If they wish to discuss business with you, let them do so in the very place where our engagement party was meant to unfold, allowing them to confront the true essence of who you are, rather than the misconceptions they held. David wore a smile, yet a shadow of concern lingered in his eyes. Emily, I always hoped that my work and finances would hold no significance in our relationship. That is the reason I choose to drive an older vehicle and don uncomplicated attire. I yearned for my thoughts to be cherished, rather than my financial standing that I assured him that I truly valued him for that. Yet, tomorrow transcends the mere notion of wealth. It embodies a profound lesson for my parents regarding the perils of superficial judgments. It is a moment to reclaim our dignity, asserting it on our own terms. As we settled in for the night, my phone vibrated with a message from my father. Brunch is confirmed, a secluded chamber at Riverside Terrace. Eagerly anticipating the chance to delve into this thrilling opportunity with David. The scene was prepared for our unique interpretation of justice. The Riverside Terrace revealed a new character in the daylight, appearing less formidable and more open to the world. Sunlight poured through the windows, creating elongated bands of brilliance that danced upon the polished floors, leaving no room for shadows to linger today. My parents were the first to arrive, adorned in their Sunday finest, their faces meticulously crafted into warm, inviting smiles. Olivia joined in, her curiosity seemingly triumphing over any lingering embarrassment. She had brought Chris with her, a subtle act of rebellion that I silently admired. Last to arrive, David and I stepped inside. He donned the same unadorned button-down shirt and jeans he had chosen for our initial encounter, a conscious decision we had deliberated upon that very morning. I adorned myself in a manner that was both professional and modest, embodying the essence of architect Emily rather than that of Whitfield heiress Emily. David, it's a pleasure to see you once more, my father exclaimed, reaching out his hand with a vibrant energy. Thomas Grant has expressed great admiration for your work. Exceedingly so. Thank you for arranging this. David responded with a courteous nod, his demeanor consistent with every previous encounter with my parents. Respectful, yet distinctly unfazed by their standing, that we took our seats at the table, mimosas and coffee materializing before us, as my father began an obviously rehearsed speech about thrilling synergies and shared opportunities. My mother nodded in agreement, her hand occasionally resting on David's arm to underscore her words, the very same David she had shown little interest in conversing with just a week prior. As my father took a moment to catch his breath, I set a folder down on the table, a copy of the acquisition documents that David had shared with me. Granted with his permission, before we proceed, I stated with a measured tone, it's essential that we clarify the subject at hand. I unfolded the folder, presenting it to my parents with a deliberate turn. David is not merely advancing healthcare technology. He is the founder of BioPredict, a company that Pinnacle Tech is set to acquire tomorrow for a staggering $175 million. My father's complexion drained of color as he perused the document, while my mother's smile became rigid, her gaze flitting anxiously between David and the paper. I asserted, continuing the conversation, that Whitfield Properties had indeed reached out to Pinnacle last year regarding a partnership on their medical campus, only to be turned down, correct, Dad? The ensuing silence was overwhelming. My father cleared his throat, his composure faltering for what seemed like the first time in his professional life. He confessed that he had not fully grasped the extent of David's involvement. This is undeniably remarkable. My mother made a swifter recovery. David, it would have been better if you had shared that with us. All this time we believed. She paused, understanding that there was no suitable way to conclude that thought. What was on your mind? I initiated the conversation. Is he really deemed inadequate simply because he drives an old Honda? Is it because he refrains from showcasing his affluence or his network? Olivia gazed at David, her perception transformed. Hold on, BioPredict? Last year, Chris submitted his application for a position there, as they are remarkably discerning. Chris nodded, a hint of sheepishness crossing his features that I was unable to progress beyond the second interview. An abundance of qualified candidates. David selects individuals for their abilities and integrity, I clarified, rather than their background or affiliations. What an intriguing idea, wouldn't you agree? The weight of the implications was beginning to settle in. The man they had cast aside, the engagement they had sought to sabotage, the celebration they had thwarted, all rooted in misguided and superficial assumptions about value. Clearly, we miscalculated the circumstances, my father remarked with a rigid demeanor. Perhaps we might embark on a new beginning, organizing a delightful engagement celebration for the two of you by the riverside, naturally. Every cost accounted for. I cast my gaze toward David, who offered me a subtle nod of encouragement. There's no need for that, I replied. Next Saturday, we will gather at the rooftop of Mill Creek Brewery for our celebration, an occasion that is both simple and meaningful, surrounded by those who have supported us throughout our journey. As I rose from my seat, I pressed on that I arrived not to seek apologies or to alter your perspectives on what truly holds significance. I arrived so that you might grasp the depth of what you forfeited through your judgment. Not merely a prosperous son-in-law, but a daughter who required you to look beyond your own limited understanding of worth. I clasped David's hand. We stepped out of the riverside terrace for the second and final time, leaving my parents behind to ponder the genuine price of their shallow expectations.